Hey YouTube! This is the result of my... Close that door. It's a window that you see out of. For some reason the light seems to work today. I've seemed to be able to leave the window open. Hey, so the curtain's open. I picked up this the other day. I'm just going to review it like any other guitar. It's got all the features really. So Shine, where I believe like the sort of house brand of Samick guitars in Korea, who made lots and lots of guitars. You'll probably own one made by them, but this was a sort of house brand. So it's like that thing with the house brand where you seem to get much more features for the same price as for when they were building, I don't know, Ibanez or whatever it is, or Fender or Squire, whatever it was they were building at the time. So their home brand ones would tend to be a bit more fancy. So this has it's a 5-string bass. It's active, 2 jazz bass type active pickups. Also, it's neck through, which is rather nice. I'm not sure what these dark spots on it. I think this might have been sitting in front of light bulbs or something. I think those are actual burn marks. The bass itself is in very, very good condition. Never played. I picked it up on Facebook Marketplace. I might have, I don't know, I think my GoPro's acting up. I might not be able to get the video off the GoPro, but I did a video on the way to pick it up. And the guy had 2 basses for sale. This and a Trabin, which was more expensive. It was still pretty damn good price though. Trabin, I've had one before. It's kind of like, I suppose kind of like just boring bass shape, but like the bridge has got like a big metal Klingon looking bits on it, and it's got like mad fretboard inlays. But apparently his son moved out and left these on the wall. So I got the hook to hang on the wall as well. That's got to be worth a tenner or a fiver, doesn't it? So I put an acoustic on the wall. Yeah, but the neck was totally like that. You know, it was like when you look down at it, it was like an inch bowed, and it was like looking at it, and the rest of it seemed to be in awful good condition. The kind of thing that this had been bought as an attempt to try a 5-string, but the action was really high, so it just kind of hung on the wall for 10 years, and then when he moved out, left it, kind of thing. So I was talking to the guy, and I was like, "Oh, it's pure good." I mean, you could put your hand behind the strings at the 12th fret. You know what I mean? It was like that. It was, the action was that high, like, and nearly an inch. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna." So I did my sums. I was looking at what the tuner's worth and the bridge, and there's not really that much else to it. But I'll just take the risk. So I bought it, assuming the truss rod was going to work, and the truss rod works. So I've now got it. The action pretty good. I have also, the fretboard was very, very, very light, and it's still taking in linseed oil. Looks much better, but I think I could probably do it again. I just wanted to play the bass. Yeah, so we've got a master volume. Playing through my wee bass cube up there because I like that amp. So that's the volume. If you turn the volume down, it's quieter. Yeah. So this one here is a centre indent blend pot. So all the way forwards, a wee bit scratchy, is the neck pickup, and all the way back is the bridge pickup. Actually, with these settings, the more trebly settings, you can actually hear the low B a bit better. That's partly why I'm using the wee cube amp. I think because it's smaller, it's less likely to overload the mic and make it cut out when I play the low B. But so if I put it back, a little bit scratchy, but that's in the middle. I think what you want, when I'm using 2 jazz bass pickups, I always figure you turn both volumes up and you turn the treble one down a wee bit and you get a P bass sound. So if I do this and then I turn it slightly towards the neck, does it do that? Whatever. This is a centre notch, not doing anything treble, so you can turn it down. You can turn it up. bass in the middle is not doing anything. Down, less bass. And I'll be careful with putting it up. It doesn't make as much difference on the wee amp. I think it's kind of, it's almost limited to how low it can go. Because when I was using the big Marshall and you put on that bass boost, it really was pure. Whoa! Actually on in the thing there, bass 30 session. I can't remember which one it is I like. I'll review it better. So, back to the bass. Those principles, 5-string bass, it's just basically you've just got a 4-string bass but you've got an extra low, which is a B. So it's just the E, A, D, G, so everything you can play, and for some reason I don't have any problem with just, see, get lost, just completely ignore the fat string and just assume that's the E, which it is, and then everything's just there. The difference is, but if you want to go down the way, like, whereas you're having to slide down the string, whereas this one. So basically it just means instead of having to go, you can go, which make you play faster. Also, you obviously know, well, you might not know, but so E, well, I'm pretending the fat string isn't there, is the lowest note a bass can go to. That's the same as the 5th fret on the B string, so you basically, all the notes up the way you've already got anyway, they're just easier to get to. So these are extra notes. What did I say, that was an E, so it's like a D sharp, D, C sharp, C, B, B, a really low B. As I was just saying, when you're playing up, you know, kind of up here or something. And it's like, because you're coming down the way, it's the same relation to all the other strings, so your disco. And it works. So basically all the runs that you're used to starting in the E, say you're used to starting it in the A, exactly the same finger, but this time now you're playing it in E. Can't remember what it was though. Yeah, so this neck throughs obviously means what we've got here is a 5-piece, and that looks like maple something. I was going to say walnut, but I don't know. Could be something like that. Then maple. So you've got like the multi-laminate thing, which is definitely a good thing for strength. The truss rod really needed to be adjusted. Also, I had to do the electrics were fuzzing and Barton. I quite like that actually. So there was one wire off this PCB because obviously it's active, but this pot here isn't great, and I think what's happened is, you know, it's quite common to get the bolt that holds the pot on becomes loose because they don't tighten up properly at the factory, I think, to not damage the finish. So basically once it's turned, you know, it starts to spin round the back. What I think looks like's happened, it's chewed up the conductive paint on the inside of the cavity, so this pot was no longer earthed. So basically I just put an earth wire on it, but that's like something I hadn't thought about. I've never seen that before, but it's now working fine. It's silent. It's just that, you know, actives, there's a little bit more to it. There's circuit boards and things I don't even know what they're called in it. So I mean, it's a nice piece of wood as well. I'm sure I looked up trying to find out when this was from. You can see the grain and stuff through it, so it's not basswood. Whatever the body is, it looks like ash. The sides you can't really see it there. Bridge, decent pickups, seem all right. Oh, they're not particularly easy to see, but it's got wee planet like Saturn's, planets with rings around them as fret markers, but they're quite they're not very bright. It's got decent dots on the end. Also, I like that when you're playing this, which I always say the bit of the guitar you see is this bit. So when you're looking at this, you can actually see a bit of a stripe in there, which is like a bit more interesting to look at. Hangs pretty well. I would actually probably say it's heavy, but I've not weighed it. But because it hangs like that, it doesn't seem that heavy. I'm going to put it up at 4 kilograms. 4.2. So I mean that's heavier than the corker. But a lot of things, especially with a bass, is it's all to do with the balance. If it hangs like that, okay, there's a bit of a weight in your shoulder. You can just get a chunkier strap. It's fine. This is just one of your seatbelt ones. So I think brand new these are about 300 quid. 400 quid. It's either, I think it was 285 or 385, whatever it is. 300 odd quid. Which is, you've got the next question is it do you buy this or do you buy a £300 Squire P bass? Probably possibly even made in the same factory. I've got no issue. The frets are all good. I had to give them a bit of a polish just because it's been sitting for 10 years, but you'd have to do that anyway. It's got good tuners on it. The neck feels lovely. I mean, it's quite wide. It's not like my Ibanez one doesn't have it's got a normal bass neck, but 5 strings on it, so they're quite close together. This is not the thickest I've ever played. It's just slightly wider than you'd expect, but I mean, it really is. I just have no problem adapting to this. It's a wee bit the same with a 7-string guitar, just because everything's the same. You just ignore the fat string, and then you've just got an extra one, so you can just be playing exactly the way you normally play it. But when you get bored, you've got a wee... So, not the sort of thing I would normally go for. I was just kind of curious about it, and let's be honest here. If you assume that the hook thing, like the Hercules hook thing that goes in the wall, was worth a £5, this costs less than a set of strings would for it. I had to know what I was doing though. It's one of those ones you can, if you'd bought this as a super bargain to learn to play the bass, but you'd no idea how to set things up, you would just have never played it because the action would be so high it would be impossible, and you'd think you were shit and not good enough to play. So it did need a proper going over. When saying that going over, really, I know I did. I've had to move the saddles as well, obviously. So the saddles and doing the truss rod and having to connect up a loose wire on the thingy, but it's not like something you would need. See, if you were any way into tinkering with electrical things, that would have been a fix, because you would have looked at it and gone, oh, I wasn't using guitar wiring knowledge to fix this. I was using sort of very basic electrics, as in, there's a wire hanging there, but isn't connected to anything. Oh look, there's a bit on the PCB. There's like, you've got like a shield and 2 wires coming out a sleeve, and the 3 go into the PCB, but this one's not off. It's like, well, that'll go on there then. So that sorted the first bout of the lower frequency buzzing, and then the top frequency buzzing was basically like physically when you touched that pot, it was like touching the end of your jack socket, and it's like, it's kind of like it's not earthed because it wasn't earthed. So you would know these things. Not difficult to fix. But it's just, I don't know what to do with it now, because I mean, it's kind of too nice. I mean, it is nice. I mean, if you were to bring this to me, say it like the Dave Kraken. Here, I've built this. I've built this bass. What do you think? Not. It's not a shine. It's just you built it yourself, and it's like, I mean, It's kind of like a P bass, really, isn't it? I was looking at it thinking it was more like, your Yamaha RBX and your Ibanez sound gear, but it's kind of somewhere between that and a P bass. This bit seems very square. Do you know what I mean? I think is it just a P bass, but this should maybe do that. It's a bit straighter. I mean, I think it's been positioned for, I assume it's 24 fret as well, but not actually that easy to get to the 24th fret. It's like you're not. I was going to say the heel. There isn't a heel, but the answer is I never play the bass up here because I don't think my bass is happy. Suppose you can. I mean, suppose these frets are more for doing that, aren't they? I haven't yet got to that stage of my bass lining career. Actually, which I've never really noticed with a 5-string before. See, obviously I'm mostly using it kind of down here. I tend to be playing it here, so and you have to be a wee bit softer with the low B, same as you do with a 30-inch scale bass. It's like the tension's kind of dead low when you're down there, so it's kind of, you can't just whack it or it'll fart, so you have to kind of be a bit more controlled with it. But what I was noticing there is that, see when you're playing this string, so I'm saying there's only an extra 5 notes on this than there is in a normal string, a normal bass, lower than that. But when you're playing up here, because the string's really, really short and really fat, it kind of sounds like an upright bass a bit. Like kind of the sort of elastic bandy type thing, which I don't think you really... See, it doesn't really do it on the E string, but when you've got the B string, because of the low tension up here, it definitely has a do. That might be to do with the tension's so low, right, that the difference between the notes is not as defined because you can't really hear it, so it kind of sounds fretless. Does that make sense? Bet that note's never been played in this bass before. Great fun though. I was going to try it through the big amp and it'll just overload the speaker. No, I think I'm going away this weekend, so I might be doing a couple of videos today, and I might not be doing my live stream. I might be doing a possibility, depending on phone signal, of a live stream on Saturday night, but I'm not sure. But I'm sure you can handle not being there every week. So who wants a 5-string bass? Why do I want it? It's like, well, I told you why I bought it. I took the gamble. I saw it, and it was like it was in Clydebank. I was like, I'll give it a go. But I mean, if I needed, the thing is, I'd see if I didn't have a 5-string bass, I'd probably keep it, justifying it by having a 5-string bass. But my other one, well, maybe I sell the Ibanez one. I've got an Ibanez. I can't remember what it's called. Is it an SR? No, that's I've got an Ibanez. It's kind of, sort of like a super jazz bass. I mean, it's like a sort of jazz bass, but just a little bit, still very traditional Fendery looking. Apart from the fact that I painted it black and yellow stripes, and it's an Ibanez. It's a Geo, but they only made the guitar at the bass for 2 years, and was it 98 and 99, and in '99 was when the Geo came out. So in the '98 one, it's a GSR, I think it is. It's just an Ibanez because they didn't get Geos yet, and then they made it for one more year as badged a Geo. Mine was badged a Geo, and I scraped it off for a Stanley Knife Bride. So it's just an Ibanez because it's the same as the '98 one, but it's actually '99. The pickups in it were not big enough for the guitars. Like but that's maybe why it never sold. So the neck, I think, was just a 4-string neck, but they put an extra tuner on it, so that's why it's kind of thin. It's not as wide as this, and the pickups were jazz bass pickups, but they didn't pick up. They picked up the middle 3 strings fine, but yeah, if you kind of slid the pickup down 5mm, it picked up these 4 strings. If you slid it up 5mm, it picked up these 4 strings. The pickup literally just didn't have a wide enough magnetic field to cover all the strings, so I put big massive fucking humbucker things in it, proper 5-string ones, and then wired it wrong. So maybe I should just sell that, but that's my 5-string. That was one of the things when I was looking at buying this thing, you know, the truss rods knackered. I was thinking these strings are well newer than the ones that are on that. I go into pedals, turn on this, and turn on both of them. Call me 3 amp Malcolm. that makes it more. No idea whether the mic's picking it up, but by golly, is that bassy? Doesn't fit quite as well with disco as we'll give it up though. Obviously, I was better at that when we were playing it in the Sabbath band the other night for the first time. Sabbath buddy, Sabbath back the cards, hell yeah. But it's in C sharp, so that was me playing it on different strings. That's why I couldn't remember what the notes were. Definitely C sharp. That was why I was managing to hit that half. It's totally possible. Distorted and you know you have to learn. 1, 2. What more can you do? See, I used to be able to sing that, or I never used to be able to sing that bit, but I used to be able to sing that high. You turn to nightmares, heaven turns to hell. It's got a real boom to it, like a drum. Got a bit of whom like that. That might be just this active EQ thing. I do like. I don't like the fact that pot's a little bit scratchy, but what was I saying there? It does seem to be. It seems to cover an awful lot more range in a P bass. P bass is all useful. This does an awful lot more trebly and an awful lot more bassy. I wonder if these are they're not active pickups. So there you go. But that's that. Here it's a wee bit like the C. It's just a pot. But yeah, they're not active pickups because I didn't fit no battery to them. They were just running. I don't think. No, I'm just wondering. So basically, when you've got both the bass and the treble like at the centre into it, it's not doing anything at all. So you just got a fully passive. I don't know. No, maybe it seems a little bit too powerful for that. Maybe there's a preamp that's permanently on. Just it seems awful clear and good for a budget. Well, budget bass. So I suppose I went back to the question which I never actually answered. I made earlier on with, would I buy this if I was who buys this? Because it doesn't look, or maybe bass players don't care. I don't know. Technically, it's awful good. So there's a 16-year-old cycling up the street there on that size of bike, like obviously I don't know, taking home for his wee brother or something like that. Yeah, so would you spend, let's just say it's 300 quid, new, would you buy this over a £300 P bass? See, I don't know if I would buy the £300 P bass. That one gen I did a video for, I'm trying to think if you've seen it or not. I did the video yesterday when I put it out yet or not. It kind of looks like the same colours as this in the video, but in reality this is much redder. I think that came in about 200. Oh, it might have been about 280 actually. It might have been I think it was the Affinity one, so I think it might have been a kind of similar ballpark to this. So do you buy a P bass or do you buy this? And I suppose the answer is it depends on what it is you're playing on it. And this would do everything that a P bass does, but maybe a little bit more dialing in to do it. Whereas a P bass does a P bass, which is what, like Black Sabbath, you don't need anything other than a P bass. But if you're wanting to do popping and slapping, this has got all the the super twangy trebly tones in it. It's also got that low B, which would help if you're playing along with if you're in like a down-tuned metal band type thing, just having a lower. It's just the thing that's really annoying about sometimes you're playing the bass, especially when you're playing in like in D. The song's in D, so you're batting away, and that's not D, that's D. You kind of want to get a lower D, so if you're descending down, if you're like, so if you're doing that, you have to go. There, you're in. Which is annoying because you're kind of going da 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 because you have to go up the octave. Whereas if you're on a 5-string, you can go. Well, you can hit the right note. P, G. Okay, that is it. There. Just for that occasional note, but you kind of have to be a bit aware for it. I think there's probably quite a lot of metal that's kind of like pure. But it's kind of difficult to do it on that low down. It's like you need to be a bit more, you know, hitting it with a hammer rather than it's more of a that kind of thing. Do all the fancy stuff on the thin strings. I do love the way that it's the same relation to the, like, see what the E is to the A. It's the same relation to the E from the B to, so it's like any riffs that you're playing. It's still there if you just, instead of playing it on the A side, just put that one. So the notes are always in the same place. You just got to not get lost. This did not work with the 8 string. I had an 8 string Jackson at one point, so basically I had a low B and then a low F, whatever the lowest one was. My brain did not let me ignore 2 strings. It was fine ignoring 1 string, same in the 7 string guitar. It's like, that's fine, you just ignore that string until, and then you remember it's there and you go, that's right. Be good for this would be great for doing film soundtrack. You know, it's like you're sneaking into the warehouse. In fact, actually, I've already been on for half an hour. Sitting there thinking, there's effects! There's effects in the cube. So I would need to, if I was going to be going, and I had to go into a shop to buy, mind you, I don't know if you can still buy this. Well, actually, no, the one that I saw that was 300 quid wasn't as good as this because it was basswood, and was it neck through? I can't remember. There was a couple of things that weren't as that were clearly an upgrade on this model. I think it might have had a really fancy looking bridge on it though. I think it had a better bridge, but the actual there was a couple of things on it that made this one more a higher end one. But listen to that tone of the neck through. Is the neck through worth it? I like the way it's I would rather have a 5-piece neck than a 1-piece neck, especially on a lower end bass. In fact, oh no, I've lost my measuring tape. I think I left it at Bob's house when I was doing his floor the other day, so I'm assuming this is 34-inch scale. It kind of feels quite long. I don't think I've actually got another bass sitting about easy to find to actually measure it. That's annoying, and I'm not even going to attempt to try and do it with that. That would just take forever. So let's just assume it's a 34-inch scale. But it's really coming back to life. See, just playing it in this last half hour. The strings are, I think, probably the original strings, so they're probably 10 years old. They've probably not been vibrated for that long, but just the more I'm playing it, cleaning up the fretboard and just stretching the strings in, it seems to be much snappier and poppier, and I'm kind of understanding it a bit more. It's very precise. Like, I feel very in control on it. But I mean, it does come into, if I was looking for a bass, like especially when I was starting out, I wouldn't want one that looked like this because I'd just want a P bass. I'd want an EBO actually if I didn't know that EBOs were terrible. But I mean, it's maybe not the most interesting shape. I don't know how am I going to rate this? Is it out of 10? Is it? It loses. I've decided everyone loses half a point for having a barrel jack, so it's already at 9.5 for having a barrel jack. The neck's the most important, but the neck's really good, and it plays really well, and it sounds really good. So I mean, all the things are done. I don't think it's necessarily ugly either. You can't. It's a wee bit annoying. You can't see the walnut stringers because those strings are in the way. So see if you move these strings out of the way, you can see the stringers, but they're exactly in below the strings, so it just looks like a like a solid block rather than being the 5-piece. But I mean, Shine clearly know how to make guitars, and the nuts cut. I mean, I doubt very much this has ever been set up. This has basically been bought from a shop, and I think with the way they went, it's not as likely to have been bought from like a guitar type shop. It's more likely to have been bought from a wee shop somewhere, like a wee mama and papa store, is what they call them. But I mean, I'm liking it. I just seem to like every guitar. That's the problem, isn't it? So I think this might be the only video of a Shine bass. Actually, cause I tried looking up video. There's nothing on YouTube. It's just showing you about other people who've bought a bass and they polished it so it's really shiny. No, an actual Shine the brand. And there was remnants of a Made in Korea sticker there as well. You know, the gold one. There was just the remnants, but it was exactly the same shape. So I reckon that's what it is. I reckon it's a Korean. So I mean, I don't know what to do with it. I mean, a bucket, which would basically involve, I suppose, to tape off the middle bit and just paint the edges green. There you go, bingo, ba-ba-ding, done. And maybe do the centre bit, the headstock green, or take off the bit that says Shine, put a bucket label on it. Or do I just do what I do with all these things? I'll keep it for a while until I get bored playing it. Currently, I'm not really getting bored playing it. It's quite a novelty having the low B again. But again, there's a lot of this to do with the price and the fact that I fixed it myself. I mean, have a wee jam with this. My wee Sarada, which I'm loving, I'm taking away with me. This, and the rolling cube, and a set of batteries and a lead to connect them, and go and have a jam outside for less than £100, all in. It does seem very. Maybe that's something to do it. And a bottle of Bucky for £100. That includes new strings for the Jarada. Yeah, so I might make this my Saturday night video, seeing as it's a nice big long one and it's something people should be interested in. These, it's just keep looking. And okay, I did gamble with this, but I gambled with the same thing with that Honor at the car boot sale like a month ago, the white Honor Strat. Bought it, truss rod was knackered. Didn't end up doing that badly out it, but because I'd already bought that, I just thought I sod it, I'll buy that for a tenner as well. So if I hadn't bought a Honor, I might not have bought that, and that was a winner. So I feel I won with that one, and then this one it was like the old truss rod thing again. But see, just because it was in such good condition, I kind of knew it's not. I doubt it's damaged or bee stock or anything like that. You're just like, when that's 5 pieces of wood all fighting against each other. That piece of wood was straight when it came out the factory. They put the strings on it and it was straight. And then over the next 10 years, the strings have gradually pulled it out like that. That's why there is a truss rod. I mean, it's there for that. But you can't tighten up the truss rod 10 years ago because it's straight. So if you tighten up the truss rod, you'll have a back bow. And then it'll eventually, over 10 years, it'll pull it back to where it's, it's back in tune. So it just, basically, truss rods are there to be adjusted. Don't be scared of them. How's the intonation? It's amazing. I've kind of trained my ear to hear the low B now. It's kind of lower than you're meant to be able to hear, so it's quite alien the first time you hear it. I don't think it will do in this video. I'd imagine probably as soon as I stuck it through the big amp, my volume went woomph. It was probably really quiet. You can't hear me, and you gave up watching ages ago. Marvellous. So I mean, Shine guitars, big advantage of them is you can probably get them quite cheap. This is only the second one I've ever had. The one I had before was it was kind of like a PRS looking thing, but it was semi-hollow and it was purple and it was amazing. I think I paid £30 for it. I went and got it in Greenock. £30 plus a tenner petrol, but and it was actually a really good guitar. I didn't like the look of it because I don't really like PRSs anyway, but it was like, they're, it's well built. It's not the important things. I mean, this is it doesn't really have anything fancy, but I mean, surely the through neck, if you don't mind me calling you Shirley, is a thing for your tone hounds. Do you know? It's like pure. There you go. It's like, oh, what's the neck join like? There isn't one. And it's like the strings are basically bolted. Maybe you can maybe upgrade it by putting. Is that really worth it? So the strings are actually going through the same piece of wood, but so The theory here is it's the same piece of wood that the bridge, the whole length of the string is one piece of wood, so perfect vibration. Yeah, maybe it does that. But it's one of those things again. We're talking about, you know, how much you pay 10 times you pay 4 or 5 times the price and you get 20% better. And it's like, well, is a neck through a bit like that? I think, to be honest, it's more of a show your pals thing than it is an actual functional. Because obviously when I bought the bass, it was looking like, oh, there's a neck through, and the neck might be knackered. So if the neck's knackered, the whole thing, you know, if the neck's knackered, you've got tuners and a bridge and pickups. You don't have the you can't put another neck on it. But then you sit there thinking, well, it's not a no break, it's not a no make. You know, it is Shine. It is made by by Samick, or I think it's Samick, not Cort. Okay. They might have something to do with indie as well. I think they might be. Did they maybe replace them or come out at the same time or something? I don't know. Good strings on it though. But that's how you can just tell how bad I am with bass strings when I can buy a bass that's probably 10 years old with its original strings on it and go, these strings are good. You know what I mean? I mean, basically, I kind of tend to change the strings when they physically there's a danger of getting tetanus off them. You know, when you go to play it, it just goes. There's no note. It just goes. Like, right, dead. 50 minutes, new record. So there you go. That'll make up for the fact I'm probably missing a couple of videos over the next couple of days. Like and subscribe if you could. That'd be awesome. And any comments on Shine guitars? Do you see them where you are? If you're looking for a guitar that's a player, maybe not for the buying and selling to make money market. It's more if you want if you fancy a go at a 5-string bass, and you like a good one. I've definitely sometimes the 5th string. See, I was talking about the tension earlier on shit 5-string basses. It doesn't work. It's just too farty. It's the same with quite often the 30-inch scale basses before EBO. It's the tension's not. The guitar has to be better to take the really low tension. If it's a bit of a shitty guitar, it doesn't work. So I maybe wouldn't be looking at the £110 Harley Benton 5-string, just in case that it might not necessarily be the case, but I've just got a feeling it kind of is going to be. I used to always think that about with 12 stringers as well. You know, I don't think it's quite the same now, but it used to be. You know, you see your £100 12 stringers, and there's an awful lot of tension on that neck. Is it going to survive? You so many times see 12-string acoustics, you know, it's all bold, and it's like just because there's 12 strings pulling that neck when it doesn't want to go. There's a certain element of just wanting a relatively chunky neck. Yeah, please. So I mean, if this is not too thin, there's a bad series in the 80s as well when you got like Washburn are particularly bad for it. The Korean ones when they put a super slim neck on it. But the thing is, see, because it's so slim, it's almost like a bow and arrow. So see, if you take off one string, the neck falls back the way and you can't play it. So if you snap a string, suddenly you can't play the bass anymore because the neck's gone back, because the neck's kind of fighting between the truss rod and the strings so much because it's just too thin. I would rather have a bit of chunk so it's basically not going to move. Rock on!